Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology for the collective for July 2021, and then we're going to dive in deep into the energy around your own personal life path number. Before we get into the reading, I want to mention I have a new service and I'm super excited about it. It's very much aligned with these videos that I put out each month. So if this is something that you enjoy, then I think this is going to be an offering that you'll also enjoy. So basically, it's called Understanding the Journey Q&A. So you ask the questions, I give you the answers or the confirmation or clarity. So it's clarity through the numbers, and it's basically energy and numerology fusion. If you purchase this service, it includes a free full numerology report, which is around a $22 value, absolutely free. And so really it's like, what questions do you have pertaining to your current circumstances? What would you like to know about where you might be headed? With this service, I'll use your own personal numerology report, which I will read both practically and intuitively, to offer guidance and clarity on your questions around career, purpose, relationships, or just life in general. This service is meant to help empower you for when you make your decisions and to help you better understand your own personal journey as you continue to move forward. So much clarity can be gained through a better understanding of how the energy of the numbers that our own soul purposely chose before coming to Earth and how they impact our daily lives and the purpose we are meant to show up to daily. So, feeling stuck? Need confirmation or clarity? Let's dive in and take a closer look. This service includes, again, your full personal numerology report that's free. That's going to be my gift to you. A message from the animal spirits, and then guidance and clarity for your most pressing questions pertaining to, again, career, purpose, relationships, and life in general. So if that sounds like something that interests you, then head on over to my website. Under personalized services, you will find this offering and you can book some time with me. I will also leave a link in the description box below. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the reading for July 2021. So July is a 3 universal cycle. And so collectively, we will feel the influences of this energy throughout the month. What's interesting is that 3 energy is often sort of larger than life, big energy that needs to be moving and seen. It's a very creative, fire-like energy that burns quickly. However, for much of this month, there will be opportunities to sort of stand back and become the observer. So stop, look, and listen before taking that leap. This month will ask you to find grace, not only for self, but also for others. Surrender and acceptance for what you cannot control or change will serve you better than jumping to conclusions or making mountains out of molehills when that isn't the mountain that you're meant to be climbing. Those things that you feel like you have to force, they're not for you, and it will be sort of impossible to maintain that energy. Effort is a good thing and needed to reach our goals, but there's a difference between showing up and putting in the effort as opposed to trying to force something into existence. So pay attention to how you're expending your energy here. Oftentimes, all we need is a change in perspective to shift our actions, which then allows everything to flow much more smoothly. No force needed. So this month, things won't always be as they appear. Pay attention to the details before making your mind up about something, and allow some room for movement. Don't hold on to those opinions too strongly. Be as open-minded as possible because things you thought you were sure of or that you thought you knew might just surprise you. If you can loosen your grip a bit this month and go with the universal flow, then affairs will take care of themselves quite easily, without force. Give up the control. You're not going to miss out on what's meant for you. Okay? It might not happen to your predetermined timeline, but what's meant for you will show up when it is time. You can't mess that up. I think that's really important to remember. What's yours will find you. Communication is going to be key this month. So remember, communication is a two-way street where all parties need to be involved for it to work. In your conversations, are you communicating or are you attempting to influence? I'm going to ask that question again. In your conversations, are you actually communicating or are you attempting to influence? There's a difference. Open the lines of communication without the need to influence the others involved. Also, pay attention to your mindsets this month. Thoughts create actions, which create outcomes. So, is a change of view or mindset in order for you this month? That's going to be key. Again, don't force anything and pay attention to your mindsets. This month is definitely an interesting energy. Things can happen as if by magic with the less force you exert. Yes, you will have to put in the effort, but when that effort shifts to force, then you are then getting in your own way and impeding the process. So pay attention to where it is that you are moving your oars and steering the ship along with the flow of the universe, and where it is that you have turned the boat around and are desperately trying to force yourself against the current, against the flow. Which one feels more sustainable to you? Go with that one. And presumably it's going to be the one that you don't have to force. This energy this month has a lot to show us in how to make life much more easy and to release the struggle. Okay, life path number 5. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all, and you got giraffe spirit. And giraffe's message is, see the bigger picture. And this really falls in line with that 3 universal cycle that we have going on in July, where we talked about things not always being exactly as they appear, like the potential for there to be a lot of confusion or illusions this month that you, if you are immersed in it, are going to have a hard time seeing beyond it. So really, this is going to be a month where you need to be the observer, like pull yourself back from the situation before you make a decision. And focus on the bigger picture as opposed to being right down in there in the thick of it and getting too involved, if that makes sense. So really pay attention to the bigger picture. Pay attention to where it is that you are headed and how you want to get there. Because again, I think this month will almost be like, at times, like kind of walking through a fun house or a house of mirrors where things just aren't as they appear. And we might not have that clarity for, a few weeks or a few months down the road. And so the more that you can pull yourself out of the situation and become the observer, I think that the better you'll feel. And though you might not have full clarity just yet, I think it's going to help you to make the best decisions for your journey at this time. So we start the month off, I broke the month down into 4 weeks, and we start the month off the first week with this energy of almost like it being very easy for you to fall into that sort of victim mentality of woe is me, nothing goes right for me, everything is falling apart, nothing is going right, and really kind of getting sucked into that energy. And so this is going to be a time where it's going to be really beneficial for you, one, to, again, try to see the bigger picture, pull yourself out of the situation to kind of become the observer and see what's actually happening, because not everything is going wrong for you. Not everything is bad. Not everything is falling apart, right? There may be some things that are falling apart or that, just aren't working or whatever the case may be. But oftentimes when that happens, it's for a reason. There's a reason why it's not working. Maybe it's not meant to work, right? Maybe you're meant to shift directions, go in a different way, take a different route, go in a different way. But if you're on that route and fully immersed into it, it's going to be really hard to see the other options available to you. And so I feel like with Giraffe coming in, saying, look at the bigger picture, you're really being asked to, kind of widen the lens a little bit And so this would be a really good time to have some kind of like a gratitude journal, which sounds really sort of minuscule, right? Especially if you're facing something that's really heady and you're kind of like, oh, this is too much. But a gratitude journal will help to shift your perspective. It will help to show you all of the things that are working in your favor, all of the things that are working for you, all of the resources available to you, all of the the beautiful moments that we take for granted. And so it helps to shift the energy. If anything, if nothing else, it helps to shift the energy. So you don't get stuck in that victim mentality of everything is happening to you and you have no choice, right? And some things in life do happen to us. It's just the nature of it. We cannot control the external circumstances. A lot of times our decisions will help to determine what those external circumstances look like. But sometimes things do happen to us, but it's how we maneuver through that energy. It's how we work through it, how we overcome it that makes all the difference. And so I just feel like this first week, there could be that energy kind of circulating of where it's just really easy to get in that mindset of you have no choice. Everything is happening to you and you're the victim. And again, that could be very valid. You could be the victim in a situation at this point, but how are you going to find your way out of it? How are you going to move beyond it? How are you going to use that information or that experience to help you get to a better place? So yeah, that kind of comes back down to, your own autonomy and your own choices and your own decisions and your own outlook and your mindset and all of those things. And so I do think that this is going to be a time where you just need to kind of, again, pull yourself away from the situation for a moment, if you can do that. And just take a look at the bigger picture and see all of the components that are going into this experience and which ones are working in your favor, which ones are working against you, which ones can you release, and which ones do you want to hold on to. So I think this is going to be a very emotional, not necessarily emotional time, but a time for going within and contemplation. And in that through that contemplation, stepping back and kind of taking a look at the bigger picture so that you don't get stuck in that mentality of you're just here and life is happening to you and you have no say, because that's not the case. The second week, we have a beautiful, beautiful opportunity coming in for you all. This is one of those things where it's like, it could be very, very, it could go two ways. Okay. Not to scare you, but it could go two ways. It could be one of those things where it's like, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is type thing, because again, I feel like we're going to be working through some illusions this month. Or it could be that situation where it's like, it definitely looks too good to be true, but I'm still going to say yes to it because I see the potential of it, right? So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, this is going to be one of those things where A, you need to pull yourself out of the situation and look at the bigger picture. And B, you really need to follow your intuition on this, follow your gut feeling, because it could, like I said, it could go either way. It could be one of those things where it's like very enticing and kind of luring you into something that is not for your best interest. And that's very possible. And so again, it's following that intuition, because it could also be that situation where it's like you don't feel worthy of whatever this is that's coming in for you, but it has a tremendous potential to be something very, very good for you. So, it just depends on the circumstances and, who's involved and all those things. And so the only way that you're going to know that is by following that initial gut feeling. Because oftentimes, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. But sometimes if it looks too good to be true, it looks that way because we feel we don't deserve it, right? It's like, oh, this can't be happening for me because I don't deserve it. And so we say no to it. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's a very fine line. And it's one of those things where you just have to follow your own intuition and your own gut feeling about, do you want this? Does it look good? Does everything that kind of is around it, because again, stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, is it a quick fix, or is it something that just really looks good, but you're going to have to put effort into and you're going to have to work for, right? Or is it one of those things where it's like, there's no there's no long-term benefit for you in the situation, then it could be that, yeah, it's too good to be true and maybe avoid it. But if it's one of those things where it's like, wow, this looks great, everything that's going into it looks great, yeah, I have to put some effort into it, but that even looks great, oh, I'm going to say no to it because I don't feel like I deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So interesting energy that's around that second week, but I feel like an offer could be coming in for you. And again, you need to use your own discernment, and you need to take a step back and take a look at the bigger picture and see, how you feel about it. And again, if you're getting that feeling of like, this looks fantastic, but why are they coming to me because I'm not worthy of this? Then that's a mindset issue, and that's something that you just need to work through, because you're almost self-sabotaging yourself for over something that could be really, really, really positive for you and a good step for you. Third week is again, beautiful, beautiful energy, which makes me feel like that offer that comes in the second week is actually really sound. And it's more about you just needing to say yes to it and fighting through any of that, like those self-defeating thought processes that are kind of keeping you from saying yes to it. Because this third week is this beautiful, divine union sort of energy of like, people coming together, things just, working out in a very synchronistic way. Things, just a lot of harmony. Again, like you being brought into a situation that's just very loving, nurturing, supportive. And again, maybe not feeling worthy of that. So keep that in mind. It's like, are you self-sabotaging these beautiful things that are coming in for you? Because remember when I said in the intro, like we can't mess up what's meant for us, like what we sort of signed up for in this lifetime, good and bad. We can't sort of keep that at bay. We can't deter that. It's going to come in one way or another. It's going to find us. And then it's what we do with that energy and how, receptive we are to that energy and how we work with it. And so with the good stuff, it's like sometimes we overlook that good stuff, or we don't embrace it because we're not in the mental space to be able to receive it. And so I just feel like this second and this third week are going to be opportunities for you to pay attention to those mindsets, because remember, the mindset will drive the action, which drives the outcome. So, and especially this month, so pay close attention to those mindsets. But yeah, ultimately, second and third week, I see some really beautiful, positive, great opportunities coming in for you all. Beautiful, loving, and supportive energy, an opportunity to harmonize, come together, unite. Just really positive, beautiful energy. So, but I do feel like there's going to be times where you're really going to have to pull yourself out of the situation and see like, okay, is this a mindset issue, or what's really happening here? What's really going on? What do I need to shift? What can I work through? That sort of thing. The fourth week of the month, I'm seeing this energy of like, kind of like you taking on all these burdens, or you overcommitting to certain things, which for 5 energy is not unheard of. Fives sometimes, I have a lot of 5s in my chart. And so, I can definitely I definitely can empathize with this. But sometimes it's like so many things come in that you want to put your energy into, and you just become overwhelmed by it. And it's kind of like you just have your hands in too many pots. And I feel like you have an opportunity for this at the end of the month, where it's like there's just so much goodness coming in, and it's like you just want it all. But what happens then, it's like you become sort of your energy becomes sort of like fragmented, right? Like you become shattered. And so it's really hard for you to focus on something because, again, you've got that sort of scattered energy. And then it becomes like it becomes a burden at that point, right? It's like too much good stuff can also feel like a burden. So I feel like you might have a lot of ideas coming in, a lot of opportunities coming in at the end of the month, and you really need to use your discernment and choose what it is that you want to focus on, and then stick with that, and then focus your energy on that. Not saying that you can't revisit those other things down the road, but this is one of those things where it's like, don't be overly greedy with trying to take it all in, because you're just going to burn yourself out, and that type of momentum is not sustainable. So this is going to be a time where it's like you, again, maybe list out the things that are coming in for you and then choose what it is. Maybe choose one or two things that you really want to focus on. Focus your energy on those. Let the other things fall to the wayside for now. And then you can always pick them up later, right? But fives sometimes do have that tendency when you're in your shadow to just put your energy everywhere. And though it's like, that's understandable because like five energy is a very fast moving energy. It's very frenetic. And so it's like very hard to sort of tame that energy without restricting it. And so I think that's going to be kind of like that fine line you're going to be walking at the end of the month where it's like, you're going to have a lot of potentially chaotic energy coming in, but that's good energy. And you want to like, a lot of good ideas and stuff coming in for you. And you're trying to discern which ones to go for, what to focus your energy on. And that can be challenging for a five. So I would just say whatever resources and tools you have available to you to be able to do that in a very like productive way, then do that. And again, that goes back to Giraffe's message of see the bigger picture, step back, see the bigger picture, see what works for you now in this moment, and then choose what you want to focus your energy on based on that, right? It's not saying that you can't revisit the other things later, but this is one of those things where I feel like moderation is going to be key. And that really is the buzzword for five energy is moderation, because fives can tend to fall into extremes very, very easily. And that can become overwhelming and burn you all out. And so end of the month, I do think you're going to have, I think it's going to feel exciting and a rush of energy, but you have to be really mindful and really careful about how you expend your energy and where you're expending it. Okay. And really just try to go with the flow as much as possible with also using your own discernment. Okay. So I hope I articulated that in a way that makes sense, but yeah, so really beautiful energy this month. I see a lot of amazing things coming in for you this month. I do think that where it's going to get a little bit tricky for you all is just to pay attention to those mindsets, because I think that's what's going to trip you up. Not to say that you're going to mess up or screw up what wants to come in for you. It'll come in, but again, it's just it convolutes the way that you manage that energy or work with it or receive it. And so pay attention to those mindsets and see how you can work through those and be open. And then again, take a look at that bigger picture so that you can make an informed decision on how you want to move forward and what it is you want to focus your energy on. Okay? I hope it's a beautiful month for you all. Thank you all for listening and for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.